Hello, 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 lap swimmers. We're back again. This is Lawson, here to help you guys out with a little bit of tips and pointers for your lap swimming. I know we probably have a few new subscribers that have just come in because of the new year and people making resolutions and saying, I'm gonna get myself in shape. So I'm glad you stopped by. Don't forget to subscribe and everything that goes on with that at the end. All right, now, the reason for the get up is because I live in Kentucky and cold weather is finally here. I love cold weather. I actually grew up in Colorado, and I'm glad that it actually got to this part of the country finally, because I love it when it starts snowing and all that. So this is in honor of cold weather and snow, which hopefully is coming very soon. All right, guys, we'll get into the first question, and it is from Ostino Lee. And what this swimmer is asking, he's asking about the proper height in breaststroke, how high to actually pop out of the water, how high should you come? This is one of those things in swimming that doesn't have a definitive answer. If you were to ask me about freestyle, I would have definitive answers for you. Butterfly especially, I would have as definitive, and backstroke. There's a lot of things that are kind of standard with those strokes as far as what I would consider the best way to do them. Breaststroke has a variable that doesn't really apply to the other strokes, and that is how high should you actually pop out of the water. Now, to the average person that's watching swimming, maybe on TV or you go to a swim meet, you'll see a lot of different heights, and that is like when the swimmer pops out of the water, some of them will come really high, and as a counter reaction, they go really deep. It's almost like they disappear. Then you'll see some that stay really shallow and they'll skim along the surface. Then you'll see some with more of like a moderate, you know, they come high and then they go, looks like they go underneath the surface, but then they're right back up. So it can be a little bit confusing. If you're a competitive swimmer, if you're wanting to add that to your lap swimming, you're like, which one is right? Well, you're gonna have to find the style that actually works best for you, because the different styles actually cater to different strengths that the swimmers have. Whenever I coach breaststroke with my swimmers, I always show them different styles, and I'm like, find the one that's most comfortable for you. Breaststroke is just one of those strokes that it's got a variable in it that goes on with the swimmer's strengths and comforts, and you can pick one. So don't look on TV, don't look at the Olympics, don't look at a swim meet and see someone that has a particular style that may look or seem a little bit awkward to you and think, wow, that swimmer is fast. That's the way you have to do breaststroke, or you've got to go really deep, or you've got to stay really shallow in order to really be fast. That may not be your style. So you have the okay in that stroke to actually play with it a little bit. So I hope that helps you out, Ostino Lee. So let's get right into the stretches and dry land and free workout and swimming food and all of that. Here you go. All right, you diehard swimmers out there, it is absolutely freezing here in Kentucky. We're having like one of those 0-degree days. But I'm going to run in the sporting goods store and I'm going to try to find some hand paddles, see if they still have those in. If you're new, then the reason that I'm doing it this way is because it's easy to just order things online or to run into a swim shop. But most people, most lap swimmers, whenever they get stuff, they're going to do it like at the most convenient sporting goods store. So those are the ones that I'm going into, and I'm going to show you kind of what you're looking for. Alright guys, I found it. It's actually pretty hidden. This time of year, don't be surprised if you want to look around quite a bit to find their little nook of swimming gear and attire. Good news is that I actually did find a couple of paddles. They've got some hard paddles that are right here that are still on the shelf. They usually have rubber tubing, which these do. You can see right there, this rubber tubing, it goes in and out the hole, so you can actually adjust it however you want it to fit your hand. So that's really, really good. Now, these have gotten a lot stronger. The plastic that was used to be a little bit brittle, and the stronger swimmers would actually snap them while they're swimming. They would kind of snap them in half in their palm. But paddles are actually really good for helping to strengthen your joints and muscles because it is a more solid grip on the water. But the biggest thing that it helps you to identify and feel that grip on the water with your hand and it actually leads all the way up into your forearm, feeling that nice catch and that nice grip on the water. These are great for helping out because that's one of the elusive things about swimming is getting people to identify that. Some people do it naturally. Some people, they don't really get it at first as far as what am I supposed to be feeling in the water? Well, these show you what you're supposed to be feeling even without the paddle. So if you've always felt like you just kind of spin your arms in the water with freestyle, backstroke, even with fly, and you're not really going anywhere, get you a pair of hand paddles and watch the difference as far as what you're supposed to feel. Now, believe me, these things, I mean, it's tough. When you first start using these, you're like, oh my goodness gracious, you don't even think you can get your arms through the water while using them. You'll build up the strength and the comfort to them, and then you'll be able to develop that feel even without the paddles. So I really like these. I like for swimmers to use these. And you want something that's just really based on the comfort level, then they do make things like this that are called swim gloves, but they're really for more like water aerobics and things like that, but they're good for that. But if you're a competitive swimmer, then you're probably, or you're wanting to get into lap swimming real seriously, then you're probably not going to want the swim glove. You're going to want to go with the swim paddles. All right, guys, and I'll have some links below on Amazon to some swim paddles. You know, if you guys want to skip looking for them in the store, trying to find them this time of year, and you just want to go out and just buy some, I'll have some links below. All right, guys, bye. So the second question is from Gavin DeJong, and this swimmer is actually struggling with tight ankles, and probably a lot of you guys out there have dealt with this. You're not exactly sure why your kick doesn't work. Your feet don't seem to work like the videos, like the flutter kick videos and different things. They seem to be in a locked position. It actually has some good news and some bad news that goes along with it. The bad news is that you can stretch your feet out, or your ankles. You can work them, which you've probably done, from side to side. There's standing stretches against the wall where you can constantly work them out. But the fact of the matter is that you've got tight tendons, ligaments in your feet that are hindering the motion in order for your feet to really be floppy so you can do a proper flutter kick. And what I'm talking about is feet that are kind of locked in this position and they don't have really good flexibility to be able to go like this to be able to kick. So the bad news is that there's not a real stretch that just boom, makes it perfect. But the knowledge you do need to have is that I've worked with many swimmers that have their feet in a locked up position right here and they never get the flutter kick. And then they struggle with the flutter kick. And then they think that kicking harder will make it more effective and that they'll get more out of it because that's what they naturally they'll think is that I need to kick harder and harder and harder and harder. It's actually the opposite. It's the opposite, because the harder you kick, if you're not getting that right propulsion, if you've got your feet like this and you just kick harder and harder and harder, you're actually making it harder on yourself to move through the water because you're causing more turbulence. The important thing with the body position is actually that you stay up, you stay parallel to the bottom of the pool, and that you stay in a streamlined position with your body, that it stays long and skinny in the water. How do you do that? By minimizing the kick and just doing it just barely enough to help keep your legs up and to keep your body slender in the water. And you're gonna have to dominate or do a little bit more with the upper body to get yourself to go through the water. Alright guys, and to close things out this week, gonna give away another set of goggles. Boom, brand new. These look like they cater to the female variety right here. But if you want these, be the first person, just like last week when I post this video on Facebook, be the first person to go on there and say, hey, send me the goggles. Make sure that you're in the continental United States and they will be in the mail on the way. Having a little bit of trouble with last week's because the person was out of the country, but if you're inside the United States, let me know and I'll send them out. All right, guys, and the last thing is that on March 5th, I'm actually doing a polar bear plunge, and I'm trying to raise money for Special Olympics that is catering to that. So if this is a cause that you feel like you would like to donate to, then the link to my donation page will be below. So you guys can go onto this. This is a separate donation page. Then I've got a couple of them out there. But if you guys want to give to that, then I would really appreciate it. It's a great cause. I do one of these about every year. I try to hit one. So this year it's going to be in Kentucky, and I love it. But guys, I appreciate everything, all the support, all of the questions that you guys ask. Don't forget to subscribe if you're brand new, and if you got any questions about your stroke or anything in the pool, you got some swimming questions, be sure to ask. I will respond as soon as I can. All right, guys, take care, and I will see you next week. All right, bye.